Heartwarming hidden truth. A single dad discovers his crying tenant is a millionaire CO's daughter. Jake had always been the steady hand in his own life, a mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart that beat for his son, Max. They lived in a modest suburban neighborhood, the kind where the sun melted gold at dusk and kids rode their bikes in the streets. But beneath that familiar scene lurked a sense of struggle at the little auto repair shop he worked so hard to keep afloat. His world revolved around working long hours and making sure Max never felt the weight of their financial burdens. One fateful night changed everything. From behind the thin walls of his rental property, soft cries echoed through the night air, reaching into Jake's bone-tired heart. At first, he brushed it off as just another night. But as the sobs grew louder, concern overpowered his exhaustion. It was then he realized. The new tenant in his upper unit was not just an artist, but a soul in turmoil. Lily, with her paint-stained jeans and wild hair, was a mystery he was drawn to, despite the unbearing weight of his own troubles. One evening, after a particularly grueling day, Jake gathered the courage to knock on her door. When Lily answered, her eyes were red-rimmed, but they hung with an undeniable spark, a storyteller ready to spill her truth. "I'm okay, really," she insisted amid the sniffles. But Jake saw through the facade. "You don't have to pretend with me," he replied, inviting her into their small living room, unaware that this conversation would change the course of both their lives. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As days turned into weeks, the connection between them blossomed, the laughter shared with Max, the easel perched in the corner of his home. But the deeper Jake got to know Lily, the more he unwrapped the bittersweet layers of her life. She was the estranged daughter of a millionaire CO, suffocating under parental expectations that draped over her like a heavy blanket, stifling her dreams of paint and canvas. Every tear she shed echoed the crisis of chasing love from a father who only saw numbers, not art, not passion. The stakes rose when Lily received an ultimatum from her father. It was either abandon her artistic pursuits or lose all connection to her family forever. The tension simmered, revealing two different worlds that clashed within the confines of his small home. Jake felt the weight on his chest. Was he teaching Max the right values about hard work and sacrifice? Or would pushing their dreams aside be the ultimate betrayal? As Lily and Jake opened up to each other about their fears and aspirations, hope began to crinkle the air like warm sunlight. They were each other's shoulders to lean on, but the looming specter of Lily's father threatened to sever their bond before it fully bloomed. In a hushed moment, Jake urged her, "You deserve to chase what makes your heart race." With every encouraging word, the community around them began to notice. Their little neighborhood started to rally behind Lily's dream. With each art piece she created, the walls of Jake's home transformed into a gallery of thoughts and emotions, a fusion of their shared vulnerability. However, as the night progressed into the art exhibit filled with chatter and clinking glasses, tension crackled in the air when Lily's father appeared. Jake noticed the storm gathering in her wary eyes. Would their bond hold under the overwhelming weight of expectations? As Jake watched from the side, he felt both anxious and proud, wrestling with the question, would love and courage be strong enough to face the tide of expectations? The atmosphere thickened with the vibrant colors splashed across the walls and the anxious energy that divided the room. Jake could see the piercing gaze of Lily's father, a figure draped in authority and expectations, scanning the exhibit as though assessing every brushstroke of his daughter's work. The moment was colossal, filling Jake's chest with a mix of dread and determination. He held his breath, hoping Lily could stand firm against the storm her father brought. Is this what you call art?" Her father's voice boomed, the impatience thick in his baritone. "These childish abstractions? They don't hold value. You could be managing our family company. You could be someone." Lily stood still, her fingers trembling slightly as she clutched a paintbrush behind her back. Jake took a step forward, feeling the need to protect her. He wasn't about to let her father snuff out the flame inside her, not when she had just begun to shine. She's creating her own path, Jake said, firm yet respectful. You may see numbers and profits, but she sees beauty. That's worth something. Lily glanced at him, the emotion swirling in her eyes. The weight of the moment fell on her words as she finally spoke, strong despite the fear choking the back of her throat. Dad, I don't want to manage a company. I want to paint. This is my voice. Her voice shook but held the defiance of someone finally reclaiming her identity. A hush fell over the crowd as if every heart was holding its breath. Jake could see the flicker in her father's eyes, disappointment mixed with disbelief. You think you can throw everything away? You think you can just ditch us? I worked hard for you to have this opportunity. And that's exactly why I'm leaving. Lily's voice rang with newfound conviction. You created this life for me, not the one I want to live. I'm not your puppet. Jake caught a glimpse of the admiration and support from the people gathered around them, awakened by Lily's courage. It ignited something within him, an impulse to stand right alongside her. They were in this together, after all. But then, her father's face darkened, an intimidating shadow sweeping over the room. You'll regret this decision. You'll be alone. I won't support you if you persist in this foolishness. With a turn of his heel, he left, the heavy door slamming shut behind him like a final judgment, a cold reminder of everything Lily had feared. Lily took a shaky breath, and in that moment of vulnerability, Jake stepped closer, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. You're not alone, Lily. We'll figure this out together. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but they didn't reflect weakness. They were tears of both fear and hope, a complicated blend of emotions that marked a turning point. Max approached, small but determined, holding out a crayon drawing he'd made of his mother dancing with the stars, a simple masterpiece. I think it's beautiful, he chirped, his bright smile breaking through the tension. Lily laughed softly, wiping her tears and kneeling to embrace him. In that vulnerable moment, Jake witnessed the power of love igniting hope within them. But as the excitement in the room swirled, doubts drifted silently back into the shadows. The question lingered: how would they face the pressures that loomed ahead of them, especially with Lily's father prepared to do whatever it took to pull her back into his world? As the night wore on, conversations bubbled and laughter floated through the gallery, but the uncertainty loomed like an unfinished painting. Would they have the strength to stand up to the world and each other once again? With each flicker from the candles around them, Jake felt a burgeoning resolve. It was time to take the plunge together. They would face the challenges ahead. But just how far would Lily's father go to rein her back? The gallery glowed around them, an oasis of creativity amid the chaos. Yet, Jake couldn't shake the chill lingering in the air. With Lily's future hanging in a precarious balance, he knew they had to brace for whatever storm was still to come. Would love truly be enough to set them free? Lily wiped her cheeks, pulling herself together, but the intensity of her father's words replayed in her mind like a relentless echo. It was as if the air had thickened with unuttered threats while the gallery buzzed around her with fleeting excitement. She took a deep breath, determined not to let fear cloud her newfound freedom. Yet, uncertainty flitted at the edges of her thoughts like nervous butterflies. Are you okay? Jake asked softly, his voice pulling her back from the abyss of worry. His concern felt like a warm blanket on a cold night. I will be, she whispered, avoiding the gaze of those around them, still conscious of the way they had stopped to watch the confrontation. It was one thing to fight for her passion, it was another to let everyone see her crumble. Max was busy sharing his crayon masterpiece with anyone who would listen. Look! Mom is dancing! And look at the stars! He exclaimed, his innocent enthusiasm creating ripples of laughter. Lily's heart swelled as she watched him. His passion was raw and unfiltered. That's amazing, Max! She cheered, kneeling beside him. At that moment, she realized she needed to channel the same courage he had shown, even if it felt like she was teetering on the edge of a cliff. But amid the radiant energy, Jake's unwavering gaze held a hint of worry. The pressure of the night was far from over, a storm gathering clouds in the shape of unresolved family dynamics. I know you can feel it, too, he said quietly. We'll have to face your father again. And soon. Lily stiffened, thoughts racing. What if he refuses to see my work again? What if he uses everything against me? She glanced at the empty door her father had left through, a fissure of fear cracking through her resolve. This is too much. What if he doesn't? Jake countered gently. We can prove him wrong together. You showed strength tonight. You showed you're serious about this. Max chimed in, yeah. You can paint. And I want to help. His wide eyes and tiny fists raised in triumph made Lily smile despite herself. Maybe we could do something together, Jake suggested. A live painting session? Invite people to see you create. Show authenticity in your art. Let them understand. Lily perked up, the thought warming her spirit. Could she really do it? Could she take such a leap? I've never done anything like that, she confessed, a knot of excitement and anxiety twisting in her stomach. Neither have I, Max said with a burst of laughter. But we'll try. Okay, we'll try. Lily's lips curved into a shy smile, the simple act stirring hope within her. Maybe this wasn't about fighting against her father, but about embracing her own path. Yet as conversations deepened, she caught sight of a familiar figure re-entering the gallery. It was one of her father's business associates, eyes scanning the room with an air of judgment. Maybe it was the way he glided through the crowd or the condescension he wore like a badge, but Lily could feel unease creeping back into her thoughts. What do we do if he tells my dad? She asked, a knot returning to her stomach, the fear urging at her to retreat. We stand together, Jake replied firmly, grabbing her hand. And we don't let anyone take this away from you. Lily felt a surge of strength swell inside her as she squeezed his hand, growing ever more determined. All right. Let us set a date for this live painting session. Let us show them who I am. The room buzzed with energy, laughter still bubbling like a brook, but the atmosphere shifted into something palpable, electric. Jake, Lily, and Max exchanged excited glances, anticipation rippling through them like wind over grass. But just then, Lily's eyes darted back to the lawyer, who stared directly at her, his expression unreadable. Was he simply a spectator? Or something more threatening? As dread seeped into the edges of her excitement, she felt the weight of the moment settle heavily on her shoulders. Love and hope intertwined with the haunting uncertainty of her father's impending return. What consequences would come from her bold choice? The air crackled with potential, yet ominous clouds lingered nearby. The path ahead was a hazy blur of opportunity and risk, an adventure she wasn't sure she could face alone. With her heart pounding, Lily held on to Jake's hand tighter. Would they be able to carve out a space in this world where she could truly thrive? Where her art could finally sing? The moment felt like suspended time as Lily returned her focus to the bright colors of her son's artwork. Crayons scattered on the floor shimmered in the gallery light, almost being moments of magic themselves. She took a deep breath, swirling hope and fear like mixing paints, the larger-than-life portrait of her ambitions colliding with shadows of doubt. Do you think your dad will be okay with this? Max asked, innocence shining in his eyes, unaware of the storm brewing within her. It doesn't really matter what he thinks, she replied, more to herself than to him. This was her art, her voice. It's about me now. Jake's presence solidified that conviction. He leaned closer, his breath warm. Just remember, Lily. We're in this together. No matter what happens. Trust your talent. His words were a soft melody, wrapping around her heart in a tight embrace. But then, the tall figure of her father's associate slithered into her periphery again. Whispers of judgment followed him like a cloud, turning her resolve into gravel. What if he turned around, pulled out his phone, and called her father? The thought twisted like a knife in her gut. Let us go get a drink, Jake said, noticing her sudden hesitation. Max, stay here and keep working on your masterpiece, okay? Okay. Max beamed, diving back into his colors, completely unbothered. With Jake guiding her away, Lily fought the urge to look back at her son. He was her anchor, a reminder of her resolve. What if I'm just fooling myself, Jake? Her voice trembled slightly, a crack in the armor she was desperately trying to hold up. What if I can't do this? What if it all falls apart? Then we build it again, he assured, stopping to face her, his hands resting on her shoulders. You have so much inside of you. The world needs to see that. You need to see that. A flicker of something powerful ignited in her chest, a warmth she hadn't felt fully since her father's scornful words. You really think so? The vulnerability was evident in her tone. I know so, he said, a smirk forming at the corners of his lips. You've already painted your own path. Now let us just showcase it. She smiled back, the light of hope flickering steadily. Together they moved toward the refreshment table, the hum of laughter enveloping them like clouds gathering around a distant storm. Here they come! A voice echoed through the gallery, drawing their attention. It was one of the artists from earlier, brimming with enthusiasm, flanked by several friends. You guys should have seen the painting I made. Come look! As curiosity took the group towards the vibrant canvas emanating from the other side of the room, Lily felt an electromagnetic pull toward the collective joy. It was contagious, the kind of energy where fears and anxieties fell away like leaves in the autumn wind. See? Jake murmured as they followed the laughter. This is what it's about. Community. But what if? Just as she was about to voice her fears again, a loud crash cut through the excitement. Someone had knocked over a sculpture, causing gasps to ripple through the gallery. Lily's heart skipped. She instantly thought about her father, the ruthless businessman who thrived in chaos. Would he see this as a weakness? Would he pounce? What do we do? She whispered, panic bubbling back to the surface. Jake's grip tightened on her fingers. We don't run away. We move forward, he said firmly, reassuring her with a determined look. Just then, Max rushed over, eyes wide. Mom! I need you! He tugged on her shirt, pulling her back into the vibrant mess of people and laughter. Her stomach churned as she saw the artist who had made the spectacle of chaos now fumbling to apologize. Amid the laughter and murmurs, however, Lily noticed something incredible. Each face had melted from judgment into compassion. Look, he's okay, Jake said softly, observing her reaction. Could she really lean into this moment? As she spotted the judge's face from earlier now lost in the crowd, an understanding rang loud. Her journey was just beginning. All she needed was faith in her art, and in herself. But how would her father's wrath be unleashed? What would happen in the days to come as the live painting session drew closer? With her heart racing, she turned back to her son, who smiled brightly up at her. It felt like that spark was igniting, leading her into the unknown. Okay, let us do this, she whispered to Jake, conviction swelling within her chest. The clock ticked ominously in the background as Lily stepped boldly toward her new destiny, knowing the world was watching. Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket, a new message lighting up the screen. We need to talk. A knot tightened in her throat as her heart sank. Who could it be from? What did it mean for the path she was finally ready to take? Lily's fingers trembled as she pulled out her phone. The name flashing on the screen sent a chill down her spine. It was Sam, her father's associate, the man who had built a reputation on cold, hard deals. The last thing she wanted tonight was a reminder of his looming presence, or the man who ruled her childhood. Jake noticed her hesitation. What's wrong? It's Sam, she murmured, the words barely escaping her lips. He wants to talk. Don't let him intimidate you, Jake said, and she could see the fire in his eyes. You've got your own life now. You don't owe him anything. Max continued to color, blissfully unaware of the tension simmering between his mother and the future that felt increasingly uncertain. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of the joy swirling in colors on butcher paper, the laughter echoing nearby. Do you want me to read it? Jake offered, his hand resting on her knee, grounding her. Lily nodded, swallowing hard. She felt exposed, vulnerable, but she also wanted to face whatever this was head-on. Taking the phone, Jake read the message aloud. I know about your art showing. We need to discuss your plans moving forward. Lily felt her stomach twist. What could he possibly want? Would he try to pull her back into her father's world? He threatening me, isn't he? It doesn't he sound like it, yet. Jake's voice was steady, but she could sense the concern. He looked around the room as if gauging the atmosphere, perhaps looking for clues on how to defuse the impending confrontation. Let me see it, she said, extending her hand. She needed to see the words for herself. Jake obliged, handing the phone back. She scanned the screen, reading and rereading the text, searching for hidden meanings in its simplistic phrasing. Just then, like a storm rolling in, Sam approached. All 6 feet of him loomed like a shadow over them. Lily, he said, his voice smooth like polished stone, with an undertone that sent a shiver down her spine. Glad we could connect in person. Sam, she replied, trying to sound confident, but it was an uphill battle. The power he radiated clashed with her resolve to shine. I see you've made quite the impression here, he gestured toward the vibrant art thrumming with life. Impressive creations. Your father will certainly appreciate it. Dad's approval isn't what I seek anymore, she shot back, surprising even herself. The words came out before she could think them through, her heart racing from adrenaline and fear. Sam raised an eyebrow, clearly taken aback. You know he'll want to talk about this. He's always interested in family business. I'm not the family business anymore, she insisted, though self-doubt flickered like a candle struggling against the wind. Jake stepped closer, a silent shield of support beside her. Lily is pursuing her art, Sam. Maybe it's time you let her. Charming, Sam scoffed. But I'm afraid it's not that simple. You'll notice soon enough that your choices may impact more than just yourself. The tension hung thick in the air, like the moment before a storm unleashes its fury. What do you mean? Her voice wavered, uncertainty creeping back in despite her resolve. Your father will be concerned if he hears you've turned your back on the family legacy. And trust me, this won't end well for you. The icy calm in his voice left no room for doubt. Before she could respond, Sam stepped back into the crowd, blending into the vibrant atmosphere that now felt suffocating. Are you okay? Jake asked, concern etched on his face. Her heart raced, fingers clutching her phone tightly. That was the threat she feared. But what did he mean by your choices may impact more than just yourself? I'll figure it out, she whispered, but was she truly ready for the storm ahead? With the colorful chaos swirling around her, Lily felt one thing for certain, she had to choose her path. But as the pieces of her life began to converge, she realized the hardest part would be acknowledging her father's shadow, casting darkly over the choices she held so dearly. Just as hope flickered again, a familiar face caught her eye across the room. It was an artist whose canvas seemed to radiate pure love and joy, a stark contrast to the world she was grappling with. Could seeking inspiration from unexpected places be her way forward? The choice before her loomed like a heavy weight, and now, it felt like the real test had begun. Would she have the courage to embrace it? Lily's thoughts spiraled, tangled in the web of possibilities Sam's words had spun. She glanced at Jake, who met her gaze with a reassuring smile, but it felt like a flimsy shield against the storm brewing inside her. I didn't mean for tonight to spiral like this, she said, her voice low, filled with uncertainty. Max remained engrossed in his art, the vibrant colors seemingly oblivious to the cloud hanging over his mother. You can handle this, Lily, Jake insisted. You've worked too hard to let someone like Sam intimidate you. Remember why you're here. Her heart flickered at the reminder. They had pushed through sleepless nights and countless rejections to reach this moment. The opening of her first exhibit had felt like a dream, a step into a world where she could finally be herself. But now, in the path of Sam's cold reality, doubt crept in, playing tricks on her confidence. She took a deep breath, pushing the fear aside. The artist across the room, with a canvas that seemed to spread joy, inspired her. Lily approached him, drawn like a moth to a flame. Hi! She greeted, her heart racing slightly. Your work is beautiful. What inspires you? The artist, an older man with silver strands in his hair, turned with a warm smile. Thank you. I believe in celebrating the everyday moments. Life is all about finding joy in the small stuff, don't you think? Absolutely, she replied, feeling the warmth of his words seep into her bones. A weight lifted from her chest, if only temporarily. Maybe this was what she needed, a reminder of why she had turned to art in the first place. A way to recharge her spirit and focus on the light, not the shadows. You have a piece here, he said, gesturing toward her artwork displayed with pride just a few feet away. I can sense the depth in it. Passion. Joy. But also, struggle? Yeah, she admitted, biting her lip. I've got some family baggage. Trying to break free from it. Then you must keep pushing forward. Don't let anyone pull you back, he encouraged, eyes sparkling with understanding. Art is a reflection of who we are. It's a form of freedom. Those words rang in her ears like a soothing balm. She needed freedom. She deserved it. Thank you, she said, feeling energized. As she turned to rejoin Jake, when she saw Sam again, lurking near the entrance, his eyes probing through the crowd. He was unmistakable, his cold demeanor jarring against the backdrop of warmth and creativity surrounding her. Stay close, she whispered to Jake, the tension tightening again in her chest. Hey, Sam, Jake called, stepping forward, maintaining a protective stance. Sam's gaze flicked to Jake, his lips curling into a disarming smile that did nothing to hide the menace underneath. I see you're interested in family matters. Just thought I'd check in. Lily's art is not a business negotiation, Jake shot back, jaw clenched. She is following her passion. You don't get to sway that. Is that right? Sam's voice dripped with condescension. You don't understand the stakes here. Sometimes the decisions we make are tied to others' well-being. What do you mean? Lily interrupted, her voice more forceful than she intended. Awareness flooded her. She had to stand her ground. You don't know what I'm facing, and you have no right to threaten me. Let us not be naive, Lily, he replied, folding his arms as he leaned back slightly. Every choice you make sends ripples in the pond. You might be the one in the spotlight, but the shadows often hide what we're too afraid to see. His cryptic words gnawed at her, but Jake gripped her shoulder, reminding her of the artist's wisdom. She could either let the shadows grow larger or turn her back to them. As Sam walked away, Lily felt an overwhelming surge of defiance. Maybe this was what she needed to forge her own identity, her own path unshackled from her father's legacy. With each brushstroke on her canvas, she would reclaim her narrative. She glanced at Jake, who nodded in support. Together, they could navigate this unfamiliar territory, but just as she felt a spark of hope ignite, a muffled cry from Max broke her concentration. She turned to find him stumbling, paint splattering everywhere, eyes filled with tears. Mom! Her heart dropped. What now? A wave of uncertainty gripped her. Hadn't she fought enough tonight? As she rushed to comfort Max, that nagging question lingered. Who would be there to support her when the world threatened to wash away all she had fought for? Lily hurried to Max's side, her heart racing at the sight of the paint dripping from his small hands. Oh, sweetie, what happened? She asked, kneeling down to meet his tear-streaked face. The vibrant colors that had once brightened his canvas now smeared down his shirt and on the gallery floor, creating a chaotic blend of emotions mirrored in his tearful expression. I was trying to make a beautiful sunset like yours, Mom. But his voice cracked, unraveling with defeat. The intense mixing of colors felt like it mirrored her own spirit, torn between the celebration of her art and the looming shadows of her past. Oh, baby, she murmured, pulling him into a comforting embrace. It's okay. Art is messy sometimes, just like life. We can fix this together. Her words hung in the air, but inside, a flicker of doubt danced. How could she assure him when uncertainty loomed so heavily in her own heart? Jake appeared beside her, kneeling down to offer his support. Max, you're allowed to feel frustrated. That just means you care. And caring about your art is what makes you an artist, he said, his voice steady and reassuring. Jake had always had a way with words, and as the warmth of his presence surrounded them, the tension eased just a little. But her mind was still tangled in Sam's ominous words. His insinuation about choices rippling outwards haunted her. Guided by that thought, she whispered to Max, "Let us create something new. We can mix those colors and make it something beautiful, something only you can envision." Max sniffled, eyeing her with wide, hopeful eyes. "Really? You think it can be saved?" "Absolutely. Every great piece has its mishaps. Just like life. We all face challenges, but that does not define us, right?" She smiled, fighting the darkness that threatened to retract the light inside her. As they began to gather the paint supplies, Jake subtly entered the conversation. "You know, the best moments in art often emerge when we face our mistakes head on. Remember when scribbles turned into masterpieces last summer?" Max nodded eagerly, the imagery brightening his expression. Minutes passed, and soon laughter bubbled between them as they created a chaotic swirl of colors that spoke of both effort and connection. Watching Max transform his horrid accident into a vivid representation brought a rush of joy to Lily's heart, reminding her of the many shades of love and resilience circling within their small family. But just as the atmosphere lifted, a voice broke through the laughter, stiffening the warmth surrounding them. Sam stood at the edge of the gallery, arms crossed, his gaze sharp and unyielding. "Hope you're not wasting your time on this nonsense. You can't simply paint away your problems." Lily felt a wave of anxiety wash over her, but the touch of Max's small hand, still smeared with paint, anchored her. "We can and we will. This is my work and my story. It matters." She shot back, feeling fire surge through her veins. Realizing she had chosen to define her narrative, she felt more powerful than the circumstances she had been through. "You think strength is enough? You're naive. Your choices will catch up with you, trust me," Sam warned, his eyes narrowing as he took a step closer, but Jake shifted protectively alongside her. "Then let them!" Lily shouted, emotions unfolding like the canvases hanging around them. "Because every choice I make will be mine." Max saw the tension building and his small voice chimed in. "And we're not alone. We believe in each other." The shared courage between them felt electric, buzzing through the air as Sam hesitated, caught between sarcasm and disbelief. As he stepped back, leaving behind that stormy tension, she locked eyes with Jake and Max. Maybe they were stronger together. But doubt still lingered, whispering through the cracks of her confidence. What happens if it all crumbles? She thought, glancing back at the abstract piece before her, radiant yet chaotic. In that moment, something shifted in her spirit. If she would be the master of her narrative, she couldn't let fear define her. As they stepped back, admiring the impromptu masterpiece they created, a lingering question hung in the gallery air. Was she truly ready to embrace what came next, no matter the outcome? She breathed deeply, resolute. The journey was just beginning, shadows scattering as the light captured a new scene ahead. But how would she navigate the revelations yet to come? With the gallery now alive with color and laughter, Lily felt a spark of hope igniting within her. The chaotic piece before them was far from perfect, but it was theirs. A little piece of wild creativity born from a moment of disaster. Max's face lit up as he dipped his fingers into the paint again, eager to add more layers and textures, unaware of the tension that had just dissipated with Sam's departure. "Mom, can I add blue here? I want to make an ocean beneath the sunset," he exclaimed, his eyes shimmering with excitement. "Absolutely. Go for it," Lily encouraged, stepping back to let his imagination soar. As she watched him, a familiar warmth swelled in her chest. It felt good, it felt right to see him express himself so freely. Jake moved closer, gently nudging her shoulder, and she turned to face his warm smile. You handled Sam like a pro." "That was powerful," he said softly, admiration evident in his tone. "Thanks. I just couldn't let him get in the way of this moment," Lily replied, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Maybe he was right about one thing, though. What if all of this falls apart?" She glanced around, her gaze falling on the various canvases that hung on the walls like stories waiting to be told. The chaos of their creation mirrored the turbulence of her life. Jake's expression turned serious, and for a brief moment, she could see the weight of his understanding. "Lily," Every artist faces doubt. But it's what we create from that doubt that defines us. And what you're building here with Max is special. His words lingered in the air, igniting something deeper. She could feel the truth in every syllable, a deep-rooted knowledge that clung to her soul. You're right. I have to trust myself, trust us, she whispered, and at that moment, the fear that had haunted her began to gradually loose its hold. Max squealed with delight as he added strokes of blue, laughter echoing with each flick of paint. Just then, the gallery door creaked open, pulling Lily from her thoughts. She turned and spotted Miss Evie, the elderly caretaker of the building, standing at the threshold. Lily! I hope I'm not interrupting. I just wanted to see how you two were doing, she said, her voice warm as honey. Oh, Miss Evie! Perfect timing! Max exclaimed, gesturing to their masterpiece. Look what we made! The elderly woman stepped inside, her eyes widening in delight. My stars! What a vibrant scene! It's like a dream come to life. She lifted her hands to her heart, genuinely moved. Lily felt the joy of shared creativity ripple through the air once more. Miss Evie was the type of person who radiated kindness, a needed breath of fresh air in moments of doubt. Do you think it can inspire someone? Max asked hopefully. Of course! Miss Evie exclaimed, her voice tinged with enthusiasm. Art speaks to the souls of many young men. It can heal, inspire, and bring joy. Just like you two did today. Lily glanced at Jake as they shared a silent connection. It was true, each stroke of paint represented not just art, but love. Each moment spent here was a step forward away from the past that had once haunted her. Suddenly, the gallery fell into a gentle hush as a crowd of local art patrons filed in, drawn by the magnetic energy radiating from the piece. Lily exchanged a quick glance with Jake. Anxiety buzzed in her stomach. Breathe, you got this, Jake murmured, squeezing her hand softly. Max stood tall, beaming with pride at their work as people began to gather closer, whispering amongst themselves. Some pointed with interest, others smiled knowingly, touched by the raw emotion laid out before them. And just like that, the moment escalated from simple creation to something much deeper. Would her journey unfold in the way she dreamed? As conversations flowed around her, a sense of realization began to form. Standing there with her son and Jake, surrounded by those who recognized the beauty and vulnerability, her heart swelled with the possibilities. But as thoughts danced in her mind, doubts still loomed. Was she truly ready for whatever? Acknowledgement came next. The gallery felt electric, transformed into a space of anticipation. The lingering question echoed in her heart: how would her story unfold under the watchful eye of those who mattered? And with the crowd now fully engaged, she knew the real test was just beginning. Lily took a deep breath, trying to steady her racing heart as the crowd circled around their artwork. She glanced at Max, who was in his own world, basking in the attention, oblivious to the electric tension that gripped her. She felt a warmth spread through her chest, a stark contrast to the doubt that had plagued her moments ago. With each smile and nod from the viewers, she felt her resolve strengthening. Look, Mom! Max squeaked, pointing at a group of onlookers gesturing animatedly toward their chaotic masterpiece. They like it. She couldn't help but smile back at him. They do, Max. You did an incredible job. Jake shifted closer to her, nudging her shoulder gently. You see that? He whispered, tilting his head toward Max, who appeared to be explaining the components of their painting to an audience that had formed around him. Yes, incredible. Just like you. Lily felt a warmth flower in her stomach at his words. Praise had been sparse in her life, and she had learned to seek it in small pockets. But Jake made it feel effortless. She stole a small glance at him. His kind eyes reflected a sincerity that made her heart flutter, pushing aside the nagging fear. Max really is amazing, she said, unsure if it was praise for their son or Jake himself that she was voicing. The murmurs around them grew louder, filled with admiration for the boldness and emotion contained in their artwork. As people began discussing the meaning behind the splashes of color, Lily found herself feeling dizzy, not from anxiety, but from exhilaration. She never thought art could bring such connection, such joy. Then she heard a voice cut through the buzz. Excuse me, may I ask whose work this is? A distinguished-looking woman in a tailored coat stepped forward, her gaze penetrating yet curious. It's truly extraordinary. The room fell silent, all eyes now fixed on Lily and Max. She felt heat rise in her cheeks, her stomach twisting in nervous knots. It's ours, she stumbled, unsure of herself under the sudden spotlight. The woman's expression brightened. You should be proud. Have you thought about showcasing this in a local exhibition? Lily's heart skipped a beat. Exhibition? The word sent a ripple of excitement through her, mingling with the familiar whisper of fear. What if this was just a fleeting moment? What if they didn't want her art again after this? She wanted to step forward but couldn't shake the doubts tightening around her. We've never really done something like that before, she managed, the words feeling both true and foreign. Listen, sometimes the most brilliant artists don't realize how talented they are. The woman gestured again towards the painting. This has the potential to be something big. Trust your instincts. Art is meant to be shared. Wow, did you hear that? Jake's voice floated beside her. You have to take that chance, Lily. Max's eyes sparkled with excitement, the idea of more painting adventures igniting his imagination. Mom, we should do it. We'll be famous. The chatter resumed around them as more people crowded forward, eager to catch a glimpse of the work they had created. And beneath the chaotic sounds, a flicker of hope fired within Lily. Maybe she could embrace this newfound passion. Maybe she wouldn't fall apart like she feared. But something deeper gnawed at her, whispers of what this could mean for her and Max. Overwhelming recognition accompanied by fear of the unknown. She had stepped into the light, but the shadows of her past lingered close. As the crowd's energy surged, Lily inhaled deeply, her pulse racing. This was a moment that could define her future. What if it all goes wrong? She thought, stealing quick glances at the joyous scene. Suddenly, another thought joined it, unexpected and bright. But what if it doesn't? She felt the world expand around her, possibilities hanging in the air like fresh paint on a palette ready for strokes. In that moment of clarity, the path forward felt alive with potential. Could she really embrace this moment? And then, as conversations erupted and laughter floated, fresh like colors strewn on canvas, a familiar face appeared at the door, shadowing the doorway, a figure she hadn't seen in years, sparking disbelief. How would her past entwine with her present just as she began to build her future? As Lily stood in the center of the crowd, painted canvas swirling with the chaos of possibility, her eyes locked onto the doorway. The figure emerging from the shadows sent a thrill of panic through her heart. It was her father. His presence loomed, a heavy reminder of all the fears she had fought to escape. Swirling emotions twisted inside her like the hues on her canvas. Panic flooded her chest as he stepped into the gallery, scanning the vibrant space. Lily's breath caught. Would he destroy everything she had fought for? As people showered her with praise, she felt the warmth of the community wrap around her, but she couldn't shake the icy grip of her father's expectations tightening around her throat. Mom! Look! Max exclaimed, jolting her from her spiraling thoughts. He tugged at her sleeve, pointing at the art patrons lingering near the painting, captivated by its colors. But all she could see was her father, his expression unreadable, and Lily felt her heart race. She couldn't let him shatter the newfound joy they had built. Jake, sensing the shift in her demeanor, moved closer. You're not alone, Lily, he reminded her softly, his voice a solid anchor amidst the tempest swirling in her mind. Remember why you're here. Stand firm. Lily blinked away tears, gathering strength. You're right, she whispered, finding comfort in the warmth of Jake's support and Max's innocent enthusiasm. I can't let him take this away from me. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, forcing herself to face her father. Dad, her voice trembled, but she squared her shoulders, channeling every ounce of courage. What are you doing here? His eyes narrowed, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. I came to see what you were up to, Lily. I didn't expect this, he gestured dismissively at the excitement around them. Mess? This mess is my life, she shot back, confidence spilling forth as warmth spread through her chest. These are my choices. Not yours. Not anyone else's. The crowd shifted, sensing the intensity between them, hushed whispers trailing through the gallery. Her father's brows furrowed. You're playing a risky game. You need to think about your future and the legacy I built for you. This isn't it. No. This is exactly it. Lily replied, voice rising above the murmurs that surrounded them. This is who I am, an artist, not a puppet. I'm tired of running from who I'm meant to be. Her heart raced, courage bubbling from somewhere deep inside, a voice that longed to be heard. As she spoke, the crowd seemed to lean in, captivated by her willingness to stand firm. Max stood beside her, the innocent pride radiating from him illuminating the darkness her father cast. Mom's the best artist ever! He shouted, eyes bright with admiration. She's the one who makes all the colors. Lily turned to him, joy swelling within her, feeling buoyed by his unfiltered love. Thank you, Max, she said, her voice softening. She returned her gaze to her father, determination clear in her eyes. I'll build my own legacy. One that's true to me, and not one painted in someone else's colors. Her father blinked, the surprise muddled with confusion. In that brief moment, Lily's voice broke through the suffocating air. You may think your way is best, but I'm finally brave enough to carve my own path. This she gestured at the gallery filled with laughter, and art is proof of that. A tense silence thickened, and for a moment, time felt suspended. Then, quietly, her father said, You can't be serious, his voice cold. But the flicker in his eyes suggested something else, perhaps a seed of uncertainty, the beginnings of doubt. Yes, I am serious, Lily asserted, the conviction in her tone shaking away the layers of fear. Art is what I love. It brings our community together, it allows people to feel. Isn't that more valuable than a legacy built on monitoring numbers? Her words hung in the air, and as the crowd applauded softly, Lily's heart swelled. Perhaps this moment was more than just an artistic triumph, it was an emotional one. She caught Jake's smile from the corner of her eye and felt a swell of gratitude for his unwavering support. Then, unexpectedly, someone else chimed in, drawing everyone's gaze. It was Miss Evie. Mr. Harrison, she began, her voice clear and steady, maybe it's time to put the past aside. Let your daughter find her voice. Isn't that what every parent truly wants? Applause erupted, voices of encouragement spilling from the crowd. The community echoed their support. Her father looked overwhelmed, an unyielding fortress crumbling before her eyes. As the clapping faded, she felt lighter, the joy of acceptance twinkled in the air like stars illuminating a dark night. I'm not turning back, she said, warmth radiating in her chest. Jake stepped closer, then turned to Max, who beamed with pride in his innocent bliss, oblivious to the monumental shift unfolding around them. I want to face the future head-on, Lily said, her voice unsteady yet sure. And I want you here with me or not at all. Her father stared, no longer threatening, the icy look replaced with something softer, more fractured. If this is your choice, he said slowly, almost reluctantly, then I can't change it. With each word she spoke, she felt the chains of her past loosening. This time, it meant something. You don't have to approve of my art, but I hope one day you can see how beautiful it is when we create from love instead of fear. As he turned vaguely introspective, Lily took a deep breath. The weight of their unspoken conflicts still lingered, a reminder that healing was a journey. But in this moment, as the gallery buzzed around her, she felt the warmth of community, art, and the love that pursued her. With fragile hope igniting within her, she glanced at Jake, who nodded, affirmation sparking between them. This was just the beginning. She would protect the light she had fought for and embrace every color, every emotion, every flow of creativity her heart dared to follow. Standing before those who believed in her, she felt a wave of newfound confidence washing over her. Let us paint together, she smiled, turning to Max. And in that moment of beautiful clarity, she finally felt free, the path ahead ablaze with possibility. Then, from the side, her phone buzzed. Pulling it from her pocket, she saw another message, one that sent goosebumps rushing across her skin. It was Sam again. Your father will not let this go easily. Consider your next move carefully. With her heart pounding knowing the storm was still on the horizon, she tucked the phone back. They would face that fear together too. For now, surrounded by support and laughter, in her heart, she felt overwhelming strength. This was hers, and with that realization, a radiant smile broke across Lily's face. "Let us make some noise," she said, her voice filled with new passion and fiery purpose. You could practically hear the shift, the light of their art finally breaking through echoing shadows. Together. She echoed all of them, united in their vision for the future. And just like that, the story transformed. A small, bright universe of triumph pulsed in the center of her small gallery, ready to explode into something magnificent. Now, everything was a brushstroke and the next canvas awaited, shimmering like endless opportunities ahead. As the echoes of laughter filled the gallery, making way for new beginnings, Lily grasped onto her joy and the support around her. In that moment, she knew this was only the beginning. Was she ready for the next journey? Absolutely. If you are inspired by Lily's journey, this is the moment. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm because your support makes all the difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your thoughts matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.